Hey again, everybody. I thought about doing the game show thing where, like, it's all recorded in one day, but they change clothes in between episodes, so it looks like it's all on a different day, but fuck it, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna get one dress dirty, and then as soon as all this filming is over, I'm gonna be back in a t-shirt and stretchy pants, and there's gonna be a lot of relaxing happening. Yeah? Not really. By the way, don't thank me, but thank your professors for the amount of work they've put into putting their courses online, because behind the scenes, this second spring break business was just a week of a flurry of work and figuring stuff out, and it's been hard. So maybe email your other professors and be like, hey, good job, or hey, your video lecture was cute, or just say something to validate them, because they have been working super hard. Now, on to business. We are talking about persuasion this week, and especially the fact that you guys are going to be persuasive soon. And as you're being persuasive, you need to know that as you're organizing your speech, there are more persuasive ways to organize it than others. Now, you still need to have one of those organizational schemes that we learned about for speech 2. You still need to choose one of those 5, and I still need to be able to very clearly detect it in your speech. Now, by the way, you don't have to go quite as far as to be like, I am using this organization. Like, that's perhaps lacks a little finesse, but just when you give your preview, we should be able to tell which organization you have, because it should check off the boxes in our head. But when it comes to actually organizing the information within those points, or in fact organizing the whole speech, there's a way to do it from ancient Greece that if you follow these steps, then you will almost guaranteed be persuasive, because this is designed to manipulate the human psyche in productive ways. This comes to us from the ancient study of rhetoric, which is the study of persuasion. I know you've probably heard the term rhetoric before. You probably heard it in a bad way. Yeah, like, oh, that's just empty rhetoric, or oh, that's political rhetoric, and I'm not going to listen to it. The word has gotten disambiguated in a unfortunate way. But rhetoric by itself just means goal-oriented persuasive communication, which is exactly what we're doing. So you guys are using rhetoric as you go about this speech. So keeping in mind the strong tradition of studying rhetoric, which goes back to ancient China, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, people are champs at this. And what I'm about to teach you is something that is so established that, honestly, even if you don't have your textbook, you can Google it, and you're going to find information about it. And so I will warmly invite you to Google it now if you haven't had a chance to read our topic for today. That is the 5 canons of rhetoric. Canons, by the way, that's C-A-N-O-N-S, for those of you taking notes, which should be everybody. Everybody take notes. You should be able to find information about the 5 canons after this lecture is done. So go ahead and take care of that for yourself, because I really want to make sure you understand this, because like I said, foolproof way to persuade people if you follow the steps. The canons are the way that you go about writing a speech, a persuasive speech. And if you follow these steps in order as you're writing, you walk out persuasive. Boom, done. It's easy. So here they are, 5 of them. Remember, 5 canons. The first one is invention. Now, by the way, I'm getting this, or at least your textbook, got its interpretation of the canons out of Cicero, who was an ancient Roman orator. He gave a lot of speeches, a lot of political speeches, who was so effective that eventually Caesar killed him to stop him from being so persuasive. Yeah, that's effective. So he first outlined invention, or as he called it in Latin, inventio. He said the first thing you need to do in a speech is brainstorm ideas. Do not try to write a speech unless you already have an idea. Yeah, clearly that's not smart. But you got to do that first and foremost, and especially in a persuasive speech. you have to be able to identify two things about your idea before you can go forth and speak. First of all, you have to identify its stasis. S-T-A-S-I-S. Stasis. Does the idea have stasis? Which means, does the idea have truth? Does the idea make sense for the people you're talking to? Does the idea basically have enough veracity that you can get people to listen to it? Now, here's the thing. You may be thinking, well, obviously I wouldn't give a speech unless it was about, truth, great truths. Everything I think is true. And I'm sure you think it is. But I have had people in this class give speeches about stuff that you would not believe, and they're convinced it's true. I have had, in particular, about 4 years ago, I had a student give a speech about how Hillary Clinton was the head of ISIS, and boy, she thought it was true. But you have to really do a little research about your topic and make sure that, verifiable scholarly sources also think it's true. So that's the first question you ask yourself while you're brainstorming and doing invention. The second question is, it's called topoi, T-O-P-O-I, topoi. Basically, topoi asks you to look at ideas in their context, yeah? So, for example, you may be very, very interested right now in giving a persuasive speech about how to avoid the COVID virus, and as well you should. That's insanely topical right now. The question is, what tack should you take to do that? Because if you just get up in your speech and you're like scaring people, that accomplishes something, but probably not exactly what you want, because scared people don't make collected, rational decisions of the kind that you need them to make during a virus pandemic. Yeah, you have to take things in their context. It may be a topic that is very true. This may not be the time for it. Yeah, so you have to consider stasis and topoi as you are doing Inventio, and if your topic passes both of those tests, great. Then you move on to step 2, which is arrangement. Now, I'm going to spend a lot of time on arrangement soon. For now, let's just cap it that arrangement is putting things in a lucrative order, an order that people will listen to, an order that logically makes sense. Yeah, arrangement. Step 3, then, is style. And notice these go in order. Yeah, you cannot arrange the subject matter in a speech until you have a topic. You cannot start working on the style of a speech until you have figured out in the order it's going. And when I say style, I mean language. I mean finding the best phrasing for all of the ideas that you want to get across in your speech. Making sure basically that it's pretty. Yeah, you want your speech to be aesthetically appealing. So do that. And then, and only then, step 4. Step 4 is practicing it. It's called memoria, or memory. And keep in mind, never, never, never memorize a speech for this class. But you should practice it enough that you know your stuff, and you can use your keyword outline, and you're fine. And then finally, 5. The 5th rhetorical canon is delivery. This is where you start working on making the words come out of your mouth, standing in an effective way. This is basically where all of the things we talked about on delivery day in the first unit come into play, but you can't start working on those until you've already done the other 4. And I really want you to do these things in this order, because sometimes when people are really excited to give a speech, they'll do stuff like visualize themselves, saying blah, 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 blah. And they'll come up with these really witty things they can say, and they're like, yes, I shall write my speech around this witty thing, but no, that's step 3. And you can't really do much until you've done steps 1 or 2, yeah? Otherwise, then you're just being witty for no reason, yeah? Or sometimes if you're one of those, last-minute classics that are like, I'm going to write this the night before it's due, it's going to be great. Then you try to do all the steps in kind of a mishmash ball instead of one by one, and that's when things fall through the cracks, don't they? So, don't do that, first of all, but also make sure you go through all the canons in order. Now, here's how you put it together. Yeah, let's go back to step 3. Let's go, or sorry, not step 3, step 2. Let's go back to arrangement, because like I said, there's a particular way to arrange a persuasive speech, and if you do this well, guaranteed persuasion. But you have to do it well, so pay close attention. And again, you can Google this if you want to read about it later. It's called dispositio, and you'll get the exact same formula that I am going to give you right now. But I'm going to give it in a way that's really relevant to your experience in this class, so pay attention. Now, this works no matter which organizational scheme you're using, by the way. So you can pick spatial, great. You can pick causal, great. But this framework that I'm going over here can work for any of them. So keep it in mind always. Now, this dispositio formula has 6 steps, 6 things that go into it. And again, these go in order, but this is the order of your speech. And at the end, I'll talk about which parts of your speech each of these goes into. 1. First part of dispositio, first part of arrangement, is called the exordium. Yeah, this is why I told you to Google this. You're getting a lot of Latin today, but that's okay. And Latin makes you sound smart, so drop this at a party and you'll sound real cool. Exordium, E-X-O-D. Oh my God. Okay, I misspelled that. Haha, good job, Dr. Sills. E-X-O-R-D-I-U-M. E-X-O-R-D-I-U-M. The exordium, the first thing you should do in your speech is establish your own credibility. Because the first thing that anybody asks themselves when you walk in front of a room is, who are you? Why should I care what you have to say? So you have to make very clear that you have a personal investment in this of some kind. It could be that you're an expert in it, right? Like, you could be persuading us that we should all be nicer to the wait staff at restaurants, which, by the way, is a great topic. Please do that. But if you're just like, you should do this, again, we're going to be like, no, don't tell me what to do. But if you say, hey, I worked as a member of a wait staff for, 5 years now, and I'm sick of people being rude to me, then we understand why you care. And even if you're not a personal expert in the field, you can talk about how it relates to you. For example, you can talk about organ donation, and you can say something like, I've never gotten, a donor organ, but it saved my uncle's life. Or, I am an organ donor because I think theoretically it's a good idea. Yeah, just make your investment clear. So that's step 1. That's your exordium. Step 2, narratio. Just spell it like narration, but without the N at the end. Narratio. And that's where you get your common ground. Now, I told you in the last video that you need common ground before you persuade, because otherwise people think you're just dicking them around, and you don't want that. So get something going in your speech that makes everybody nod, that gets agreement, that wins you allies. And then step 3 is called divisio. Divisio. Spell it like division without the N. Divisio. And that's where you take the common narrative you set up, and then you spin it so that you're different, that you're interesting, that you are doing something that needs persuasion. So you could do something like the example I gave before, murder is bad. Yeah, murder's bad. That's your narratio. That's the story that you're buying into to begin with. And then divisio, but what do we do with murderers? Now, I say we kill them back, and here's how. Yeah, that makes you different from the common narrative that just got everybody nodding. So you got agreement, you got allies, and then you got difference. That's what you're going for to get everybody's attention. Now, by the way, steps 1 through 3 all happen in your introduction. That is the bulk of your introduction. Tell us why you care. Tell us what you're talking about in a way that makes us agree with it, and then tell us what you're actually talking about that tends to disagree with it. Okay, then you move on to step 4. Step 4. Confirmatio. Confirmation, but without the N. Yeah, do you get how Latin works now? Yeah. Basically, this is your 2 to 3 main points. Confirmation, confirmatio, is where you just defend the stance you've taken. So if I made the assertion that you should kill murderers back, then I would spend my 2 to 3 main points telling us why. And that's where my organizational scheme comes in. And that's easily enough done. Yeah, that writes itself. So again, step 4, confirmation, is your 2 to 3 main points. And then you move on to step 5. And step 5 gets into your conclusion. I've seen people work this into the end of their second or third point, but that gets clunky. Use it as kind of your segue into your conclusion. Step 5 is reprehensio. Reprehension without the N. Reprehensio is like giving the audience an inoculation, giving them a shot against all the horrible arguments out there in the world that they will encounter when they leave your speech that will try to convince them that you're wrong. And how dare those arguments exist? So what you have to do is see them coming and head them off. So you would say something along the lines of, okay, I know when you go out into the world, you're going to talk to your mom, and your mom's going to be like, no, you shouldn't drink. That's horrible. Why would you ever? But let me tell you, your mom doesn't know how to network in 2020, does she? Yeah. Okay. I by the way, the views that I express in this class may or may not reflect my actual views, but do you see what I'm doing? I am inoculating people against opposing arguments that they might hear out in the world. You got to do that, because otherwise your speech is going to fall as soon as it hits any resistance. That's step 6. Or sorry, that was step 5. Now step 6 is your last step, and it happens at the end of your conclusion. It's called peroratio. Yeah? Peroratio. Peroratio. And in your peroratio, you need emotion. Emotion gives people energy, and energy makes people act. So if you want people to leave your speech and act, then you have to end your speech with making them feel a feeling. Make them feel an emotion so strong that they want to get up out of their seat and be like, yes, I will save the polar bears, and I'll go do it right now, just because you made them feel feelings. So again, end your speech with an emotional climax, and then you're good to go. So to recap, see what I did? I'm going to recap. The way you organize your speech is in your introduction, you have an exordium where you introduce yourself and why you care. Second, you have a narration where you establish common ground. Third, divisio, set yourself apart from that common ground so people know that you're actually persuading them. First 3 steps in the introduction. Then, 2 to 3 main points are confirmatio, confirming your stance, proving your point. And then steps 5 and 6, which are your reprehensio, your inoculation against other ideas, and also your peroratio, or your emotional climax. Those are what clinches it for you. Yeah, you gut punch the audience with an emotion, and they're not gonna forget your speech anytime soon. If you do all of those things, and if you do them well, you will persuade. Guaranteed. And each of them is crucial. Each of them is crucial. For example, if you don't establish why you are different from the common narrative, people think you're wasting their time. If you don't give them that emotional gut punch, they logically understand what you're saying, but they don't care. And God forbid, if you don't inoculate them against other arguments from other people, then they're just going to go out into the internet, and every troll is going to convince them that you're wrong, and you don't want that. So don't let that happen. Okay. So this is a good time for you to start brainstorming speech 3 topics. And as you do that, if you have questions, let me know. We're not doing any kind of topic proposal on this one. I trust you. But please let me help you make sure that you're persuading us something that needs persuasion. And make sure as you start writing your speech, you follow the canons, and make sure that you also organize it in this guaranteed persuasive way. Now, I am glad you've reached this portion of the video. Thank you for sticking with me all the way through this very basic primer in rhetoric. Since you have made it all the way through the video, I wanted to offer you an extra credit opportunity, and that is obviously only going to be available to people who made it this far in the video. I would like for you, if you're interested in extra credit, for 2 points of extra credit, shoot me a quick email and tell me what's up with you. Tell me where you are. Are you okay? What you're doing, what's going on in your life. Just take a minute to kind of riff about what's going on with you so I can hear from you and so that we can make sure that everybody's in a good place, okay? So again, 2 points of extra credit if you email me and tell me what's up. So until the next video, have a good afternoon, and I'll see you as soon as I can. Goodbye!